just trust the process. I think Brad tells me this every day, is I want results now. We want to create beautiful events now. And you have to look at this from a standpoint of this is a process to build. It's going to take time. You're going to have constant hiccups. If you're really passionate about it, just keep going. This is the Venue Nest Podcast, a space where every part of being a venue owner gets to exist. The beautiful parts, the hard parts, and everything in between. Welcome back to the Venue Nest Podcast. I'm Ashley Shepard, your host, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Kelsey Smith. Today's episode is all about new venue owners. If you're in the process of building or buying or starting a venue, this episode's for you.
I'm so excited about this one.
Me too.
I'm so excited because I think there are a lot of people out there who this is their dream.
Yes. Yeah. Or people who haven't even started.
Yeah. This might, if you are like
even thinking about it,
this episode is for you because there's a lot that nobody tells you. And a lot is conceptual and isn't put to paper yet of like, how would I do this? How am I going to do this? So I feel like this episode is going to be such a good foundation.
Yes.
For them starting out.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go first.
Yeah.
So one of the first things that I want people to understand and realize about opening a venue, actually, I would love to give this advice to anyone who's thinking about running a business as an entrepreneur in general. So if you're listening to this podcast and you have someone who's even thinking about starting a business, this is some of the best advice I ever was given. So the very first thing is a lot of businesses take some type of capital, right? You either have the capital yourself or you've got to go find it. Well, when we started, I didn't have the full amount that I needed to be able to build Riverbridge. And so Brad, who is one of our partners, he was just like a family friend. And I knew he was a serial entrepreneur and he was crazy successful. And so I had just kind of went to him for advice of like, hey, I'm thinking about, building a wedding venue. Do you know anybody that would want to be a silent investor? Because he knows a lot of people. And he was like, first things first, you need to create a business plan. And you need to go search the market around you. Go gather as much data and information about the wedding venues around you. How many bookings are they getting a month? How many weddings are they doing a year? How many tours? And this isn't like public information. You kind of have to become like private investigator.
Right.
Yeah. Like I felt so sneaky at the time. Well, I feel like I was like stealing these people's information, but not really. Like I would call them and be like, hey, so I'm just wondering how many Fridays and Saturdays do you have left in May? I'm just gathering like a lot of market research. So number one, you've got to know your market. Is this even a space that should have an event center?
Right.
Is it overpopulated? Is it, underpopulated? Does it have enough traffic? So the very first thing was he's like, go figure out your market, your demographics. So once I had kind of figured that out, then he was like, okay, you need to know how much they're charging on a weeknight versus a weekday. If you know how many bookings they're getting, then we can pretty well figure out their revenue. So I had to figure out pretty much the revenue that these competitors were getting, the best that I could. And then once I gathered all the information, I needed to put it inside a plan that was like, hey, this is how much it's going to cost to build the building that I'm thinking about building. This is kind of the competitive market around me. And this is the best information that I've gathered about what they're currently doing revenue-wise. And so I had compiled all of this. I mean, Canva and Claude and Lovable, ChatGPT, they make this so easy. These things didn't even exist when I started.
No.
Okay. So I did it all manually, trying to get it all done. And I got all of it pieced together. I had put so much work into this. And he was like, come to my house and present this to me. And so I took my, beautiful business plan and I was like so hyped, so pumped, took it over to his house on a Sunday afternoon and presented my business plan. And was like, this is all the data that I found. This is, what I think it's going to cost. Here's what I think we can do in revenue if we open. And this is how much I'm going to need from an investor. This is how much I'm willing to give up equity-wise. And first of all, I didn't even know what any of those words meant. Can we actually just back up? Most people don't even know what equity means. It's fine.
Ownership.
Yeah. We're
Yep.
talking ownership. So if you don't know what equity means, it's fine. I didn't either 10 years ago, so it's fine. So how much ownership I was willing to like give up for the amount of money that I was getting. And I like presented this in his front room and he just stared at me. And I didn't like, I knew him, but I didn't like know him like I do now. And he just kind of looked at me and he was like, I'm not going to find you an investor. I'll be your partner 50-50. And I was like, what? Like, I think it was the first time that I realized how much pre-work has to be done before game time. And for people who don't have capital, you have to know literally every detail of your business. Detail meaning like plan,
Right.
performa, like what you're guesstimating is going to happen before you can even go out and find the right people. So I think step one for people going out trying to build their own business inside, anything, but especially wedding venues is, what is your business plan? How are you going to make this successful? All the way down to like marketing. Before you can even go out and do any of that, I would say that's my number one.
It's the perfect first step.
Yeah.
You've got to have cash.
Yeah.
You have to have cash to build a beautiful space.
Yeah.
To rent a beautiful space, whatever it looks like. I think the next piece, and tell me if you disagree with me, is you have to find your people.
Yeah.
I think that next piece is so crucial. Whether you are deciding I'm going to run and operate this on my own, or whether you're going to say I'm going to hire somebody who is going to run it for me. I feel like that's the next piece that you need to address. So what would you say your best advice to give somebody on what you're either looking for in somebody to hire, or how do you distinguish whether you should do it yourself or hire somebody?
Yeah. Well, I think prior to even hiring somebody, just one little baby step that actually should be in your business plan, but it will feed and kind of be the avenue to hire someone is creating those values.
Yes.
Like sometimes I think we think it's like very corporate-y and people are like, I run a small business. I don't need values. I don't need a mission statement. I don't need any of that. I totally disagree. It does not, what we do does not feel corporate.
100%.
It feels very like small, loving family, employees, whatever. But you don't know where you're going unless your core is solidified. So for us, like it was really important. I think it's important that we share so people understand what we're talking about. We have 3 pillars that our company goes by. The first one is we create moments. 100%. Like the whole reason we're in this industry is to create moments. What are those special things that we're doing that enhance every experience? So we create moments. We inspire unity. So how do we gather people together? How do we make them feel loved and seen? And then the third thing is we ignite generosity. How are we as owners and as employees going above and beyond every single time there's an event? Every single time we interact with a client, how are we trying to go that extra mile? So that's what I mean by saying like having values or, creating a list of values. Like integrity is a non-negotiable for us.
100%.
Respect is a non-negotiable for us. So I think we have a list of 12 that are ours, creating that list of values, having those 3 pillars. And once you have those 3 pillars, then you can build your mission statement. You can say, at Riverbridge Event Center, we create moments by XYZ. We inspire unity by XYZ, whatever that is for your company. So once you have those kind of dialed in, then you can say, who's going to fit this? That really becomes kind of your Bible for hiring people. Because if they come to an interview and they're not showing respect based on like showing up late or showing up in a way that, you're like, I just don't know how they would fit here. Well, if they don't fit the value, they're out. So I think you kind of have to create your Bible before you go into hiring.
Smart.
So that would be like my first thing. I think the second thing in terms of hiring is really vetting the people that are coming into the hiring process. I think that's something that you do really well, is pushing people in a way that helps us see who they are before they even show up to the interview, because I think you would be shocked how many people really want to be in this space. We get so many applicants when we put something out, and you guys will too. You totally will get a lot of applicants. You just want to make sure you're getting the right ones. So explain to them kind of what our hiring process looks like so they could create something inside of their venue that helps them hire.
I love that. So we actually took this from the Buy Back Your Time book by Dan Martell.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
his last name?
yeah.
Sorry.
We love you, Dan.
Martell.
We
Sorry,
love you, Dan.
But we took this from his book. We all read it, and it was super impactful. And something he said in his hiring process is he makes his applicants submit a 5-minute video. And we have seen both sides of this. So the first time we hired a venue director between the two of us, we didn't have them submit a 5-minute video, and we probably got over 50 applicants. Not joking.
Yeah, we did.
This next go around, when we require a 5-minute video having them answer 5 questions. And a couple of those questions can be, why are you excited for this job? And then questions, whatever you'd like them to be. Ours were, how have you handled situations of ownership? Like, how have you taken on something that isn't your own but made it yours? We've had, how do you feel you would make a change in the first 90 days if you were hired? So things like that. And when we implemented that 5-minute video, we only got about 8 applicants this last time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that helped really narrow the field rather than fielding 50 resumes. And I'm just trying to base off like,
a paper.
Okay, yeah, like they graduated from here. Great. Respectfully, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. You need to be able to read vibes and energy, which sounds so strange, but this industry is an industry of vibes. How can you make somebody feel warm, fuzzy, special?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that video vetting process actually really helped us. And it's something that if you guys are listening and you're looking to hire in your spaces, try it. You'll be interested to see how it gives you better candidates, better quality candidates, candidates who are really interested.
Yeah, candidates that are actually qualified to do what you want them to do.
And they want it.
Yeah.
They want it.
So let's say you hire somebody and you are going into the building process. And I think there's 2 pieces to this. The one I want you to speak on is, how do you train someone to sell a space that doesn't exist in 3D renderings? But then I think one of the things that people don't talk about is kind of the nightmare process of what it is to actually build a venue, because it literally is a full-time job. By the time you go back and forth with the city, you go back and forth with the engineers, you go back and forth with funding, like just funding alone, unless you're putting in all cash, it can be very challenging. I've talked to so many venue owners across the United States who they want to buy, and they actually have the cash, like to put a down payment, but they jump through so many hoops with commercial lending that they never get funded, because commercial lending can be very challenging inside this space. Whether you're working directly with just a bank or whether you're trying to incorporate SBA loans, to take some of the load off of that. Sometimes the requirements are so gluttonous. I don't even know if there's a better word than gluttonous. Like the requirements are so gluttonous that people usually give up in the process because the funding is so challenging for these type of buildings. I think the biggest thing that I would say just to that is really having someone in your corner who understands finances. Like if you and I were just to go do it, I actually don't know if it would get done. Not because I don't think that we're capable, but we just don't understand the level of financial overlook and depth and documents that they require, that it's literally, it's a full-time job. Just getting the financial part of it done. And there's a lot of kickbacks. I can't tell you, just with buying these other 2 venues, we're totally fine to buy them. We have all the funding, everything. And it just, every time it comes down to the wire.
Yep.
Of just we need this and we need this and we need this and we need this. So if you're in the process of trying to build or buy, just know that it's normal and just keep plugging. keep solving problems, keep finding a way, think outside the box of how could I actually make this work. The other thing to that is building is very challenging with commercial buildings, especially event spaces. One of the things that I learned was that most cities don't have ordinances in place for special use event centers. So they really want to categorize you with like other commercial spaces, like movie theaters.
Yeah.
They really wanted to compare us to like a movie theater or like a retail shopping center. So then they're like creating all these ordinances that are like, and you have to have 500 parking spaces. And I'm like,
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
that's our entire property. Like it doesn't even make sense.
Right.
So I felt like we battled sometimes with the city of like trying to fit city ordinance, but also like fit the space that we were trying to build and design. And they had never seen anything like that before. So I felt like one of the biggest like upsides to what we did when we were building was we just became familiar and friendly with the city employees. You know, you're going to go sit in front of all these board meetings and get approval after approval. And a lot of things they had to say no to. And I get it. Like they have rules and laws that they have to follow as well. But I just felt like the more that I was willing to interact with them in a friendly, kind way, the more they were like, okay, let's see how we can make this work. Let's see how maybe we could solve this. And it just became a collaborative effort instead of no, follow this, this, and this. And I know that that's a burden across the board is when people are trying to build, they run into constant hiccups with, it could be engineering, it could be, you know, the city, it could be a lot of different, even their construction is just trust the process. I think Brad tells me this every day is I want results now. We want to create beautiful events now. And you have to look at this from a standpoint of this is a process to build. It's going to take time. You're going to have constant hiccups. If you're really passionate about it, just keep going. Like, just keep going and just don't give up. Like, it's going to work eventually.
Yes.
That's always my last word. It's like, it's going to work eventually.
Love that.
The only reason it's not going to work is if you quit. I think that's the best advice of like just entrepreneurship as a whole is just keep going. Keep solving problems. The people who are consistent and show up every day, they find a way. So once you kind of have navigated that space, I think your next step and your biggest hiccup is like, how do I sell a space? I'm going to like have you talk to two different things. How do I sell a space that doesn't exist based off 3D renderings? What does that look like for socials, for website, you know, for client interaction, for tours? But then also, how do you sell a space that maybe you've bought that isn't fully like your vision yet?
Such great things.
Maybe people are remodeling.
Yeah. So I did this when I very first started at Riverbridge. My whole job was to sell based off 3D renderings. The building was just framed. Like when I'm saying framed, I'm meaning zero flooring in, zero anything in.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like if I'm talking to somebody who's just getting started, number one, you have so many tools with AI these days. Yes, you will have all of your plans with your architect, interior designer, whoever you're using and going through. They're going to give you things, and those are great. But also, like, use AI to the fullest extent. If you have a vision for a space, you have so many tools at your disposal.
Yeah, go create it.
Create a vision.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like
a fake wedding?
100%.
I love it. I love it.
Like, you have so many tools at your disposal these days. Gemini, in case you're wanting, like, yeah, I should do that. Gemini is my favorite for, like, image creation. ChatGPT is wonderful for a lot of other things, but use Gemini for your image creation. I would say if you're struggling to like sell a space, get a vibe, get a like brand board put together, be able to show your potential clients, here's what the colors are kind of going to be. What's your Pinterest board? And ask them a lot about, hey, what's your vision for this space? And then really try and sell that in, here's how that can look in this space. And I think in terms of like socials and website, the better vision you can paint, or the bigger, I'm not saying this the best way, but like the more you can give the client, the better. Because to be fair, a lot of people are visual people. They want to see actuals, and you're not going to have an actual.
Yeah.
And so the more you can image generate, the more you can get people in your space, then you paint the vision for them in person. Because I think sometimes it's really hard for us just to see a photo online and then swipe away. If you can say, just come, let me explain it to you, let me help you catch the vision, that helps so much.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of marketing in general, social media is free. You have so many tools, and the best way to get your name out more than you've ever had. Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Facebook, X, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Make as much content as you absolutely can.
And bring your potential clients along the way.
100%.
The more that they can be a part of the process, the more that they can feel like they're building this brand with you, the more that they're bought in.
Yes.
I think the biggest thing when you don't have a space yet, or you don't have a space that is all the way there yet, say you're renovating, is you have to develop trust.
Yes.
Trust is the number one seller. I don't care what anyone says. If you can get someone to trust you, they're going to buy.
And I think
they're going to want to be there. They're going to be taken care of. They know that you're going to be there. You're going to take care of their every need. I just love it. Nothing can outsell trust.
No. And I think everybody's story is unique, and you have to tell that.
Yeah.
People want to go along the journey. So if you're building a venue, document it. And I know for some people, they're probably sitting there thinking that's really uncomfortable for me. Well, get outside your comfort zone, because that is what is going to pull people in. And think outside the box. When you are open, do styled shoots like nobody's business. Reach out to your local vendor community. Host open houses. Get in touch with bridal dress shops.
Yeah.
Be as much a part of the community as you want. There's just so many things you can do to create a space for yourself in the community. And there's enough business for everybody. And I think probably someone who's listening to this is thinking, but I don't know if there's space for me. There's already a lot of people. Sure. But there's business and room and space for everybody.
Yeah.
So I think remember that as you're going along this journey. Share your story. Share what is going to make your space unique. Share what makes you nervous. Share what makes you excited. Share about your colors you're picking out for your walls. Share about how you're changing architecture. Share about the why behind everything, because people want to buy into a story. And that's how you're going to sell your place before it's even open.
I love that. And also ask all the questions inside the Venue Nest community, because that's why it's built. That's why it's here.
Yes.
Is for other venue owners to support you along the way. So thank you for joining us for the Venue Nest podcast. Until next time, peace. I hope something in today's conversation made you feel a little more seen.
And a little less alone in all of this.
If it did, take a minute to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps more venue owners find this space.
And if there's something you're navigating, we'd love to hear from you.
You can find us on all of our socials, but more importantly, go join our Venue Nest community.
We're so glad you're here.
We'll see you next week.